personal experience. Universal Technical Institute is the largest private educator of mostly young men to be automobile and motorcycle technicians in the world. They have about 12 to 15,000 students on 10 campuses at any one time. We went through this whole thing with the archetype study with Margaret Mark. And they've been in business 42 years. Their core archetype is hero. Why do they see themselves as a hero? It's because most of their student body are the children left behind. Most of their student body, not all, most of their student body were the kids in school who didn't do well in the academic classes. A lot of them come from families that have had no education, not even high school education. So they've seen themselves as 40 years as rescuers of people that nobody else, the great underdogs that nobody else wants to deal with. We can bring them, train them, and they place 91% of their graduates in jobs. And I'm talking about jobs with Lexus and Porsche and Toyota and Ford and Nissan. I'm talking about jobs that in 5 to 7 years you can be making $50,000 to $70,000 if you become a master technician. I'm talking about jobs that absolutely change the trajectory of a whole family. Their grandchildren end up going to MBA school. So this company is full of heroes. And their motto, when we went through this whole process, what their mantra is we will do whatever it takes to succeed. We will do whatever it takes to help people reach their dreams. Wow, what a powerful thing. So I was in the office of the CEO, and we were talking about brand charity. And we were just having this conversation, nothing really happening. A week later, she calls me in, and she said, we've had another kid who's in our school die from reckless driving. Because when you get 15,000 young men on campuses talking about cars and motorcycles, when they get out of school, there's a tendency for them to be a little wild. So every year, they lose upwards of 20 to deaths, mostly caused by driver error, mostly caused by kids acting, foolishly. CEO's a woman. She looks at me. We just got to do something about this. So I said, okay, let me do some research. So in the research, what we found out is that 8,000 young Americans die every year between the ages of 16 and 20 in automobiles. 5,000 accidents a day involving teenage drivers. 5,000 a day. 75% are caused by driver error, not knowing how to drive correctly. Not drinking, driver error. So we did a bunch of research with MTV and some other organizations, the Truth campaign on cigarette advertising, because Mothers Against Drunk Driving, there's all these other charities that are safe driving. They all have the same message. The message is, be responsible. Don't be reckless. Be home on time. Okay, so you're 16 years old. How do you like that message? What MTV found out was that 80% of the message related to don't behave irresponsibly motivated, with 80% of that population, motivated people to do the exact opposite. Because I'm trying to differentiate myself. I'm trying to be, who I am. I'm beating my chest. You don't want me to smoke? Give me the Marlboros, right? You want me to drive responsibly, be home on time? Yippee! So we found that there has been almost no correlation between any of the safe driving initiatives in teens and change in teen driving behavior. All the improvements in teen safety have been related to seat belts and airbags and safer cars and making teens drive later, not at 16, graduated licensing. Nothing. We also found that the way that kids learn to drive is the same way now as they did in 1955. The cars have advanced a little bit, but the way we teach kids to drive is the same, whether it's a formal driver education class or mom or dad. So we're supposed to be experts. That's what she's saying. We're supposed to be experts in teaching kids stuff because that's all we got. We got schools full of young, crazy, hormone freaked out men, right? And we're good at teaching them. We actually make them stay in their seats and learn on computers and all kinds of great things. We ought to be able to solve this. So we identified a way of approaching it that emphasized these points. First, remember I said get away from the don't and get into the do? It's not about safe driving, it's about expert driving. It's about car control. Now, what we found out in interviewing all these teenage drivers is they didn't want to be safe, but they wanted to be good. They especially wanted to be better than the next guy. And then you start talking, yeah, you can't really do anything about these old folks driving the Eldorados who just change lanes without looking. Yeah, they're really stupid. Or the soccer mom on the cell phone. Yeah, they're always in my way. And all that. So you got to be better than them. You've got to be anticipating. You got to be focused on the road. You got to be doing all the things that what race car drivers do to stay out of crashes at 200 miles an hour in your car, fully focused. They're not. Do you see Jimmy Johnson on the cell phone driving around Daytona? I don't think so. Now, guess what? We get people like Jimmy Johnson. We actually got his race car driving instructor to create a curriculum that we put on the website. Now, you've got race car driving instructors teaching us how to drive. Now, guess who's excited to work with us? Toyota. We've got alliance partners because they have a teen safe driving program. They like our safe driving program. We like their safe driving program. It's all good. So, they're talking to Allstate. They want to collaborate and say, let's really get around this problem. You don't have to change what you're doing, but let's all get around this problem so we can do it together. And now what the organization is looking at is actually starting a new division to teach nationally 21st century driver's education for money. There's no name brand driver education company in the country. Well, imagine if this school, using these kinds of techniques, could teach your children how to drive at no more cost than, you get the local yokel to do. So we took this from gosh, we really need to do this for our student body. Gosh, we really need to get this message out into the high schools and all over the country. Gosh, there's actually a potential profitable business in this. But the core is, it's their brand. It's their brand. So we had this whole discussion, and we decided we're going to announce this program. And we had, part of the carriers of the message is the sales force. They have a direct sales force of about 350 people. So we had those people, all the management, and their spouses at their national convention. And we decided we're going to teach them something. Now, of course, the salespeople, they're really interested in branding and selling. They're really interested in all that stuff because that really helps them. So we put together a message to them that is very simple. It's all about branding and them. And all we said was, this is who you are. We are your brand soul. As a nonprofit, if you can determine how you could become the brand soul of a partner, the future of your organization will change. The only thing I invite you is to think big enough and bold enough to do it.